Welcome to True Dinar Inside, where we cut through the noise to bring you the unfiltered truth. Have you ever stumbled across a post in the dead of night, a message from a well-meaning group member or a breathless video update that made your heart absolutely stop? The kind that declares with unwavering certainty that the moment we've all been waiting for is finally, irrevocably here. That a secret 5-day window for exchanging your Iraqi dinar or Vietnamese dong will open next Tuesday. And if you miss it, you miss your fortune forever? That jolt of adrenaline, that mix of exhilaration and sheer panic, is precisely the emotional trigger that a sophisticated network of rumor mills counts on. And before we dive into the cold, hard facts, I need you to understand that this specific mechanism of hope and fear has been running on a perfectly engineered loop for over a decade, preying on the sincere desires of good people. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this: the 5-day exchange window is not a financial announcement. It is a psychological operation, and its greatest weapon is its cyclical, predictable return, designed not to inform you, but to disarm your critical thinking. The sheer genius of this particular myth is in its fabricated urgency. By presenting a false, expiring timeline, it creates a state of heightened emotion where investors are more likely to make impulsive decisions, like buying more currency at a premium from the very dealers who benefit from the hype, or sharing the unverified news further, thus doing the rumor's dirty work for it, creating a viral firestorm that feels like confirmation, but is really just an echo chamber of manufactured consensus. Let's pull back the curtain right now on where this specific story always begins. And it's never in the halls of the Iraqi central bank or the financial districts of Hanoi. It's in the shadowy, unregulated corners of the internet, on private forums with ominous official-sounding names like Dinar Intel Desk or Global Currency Reset Headquarters, where anonymous posters, who have never once revealed a verifiable identity, suddenly become insiders with direct lines to the IMF, or a close friend in the CBI. These sources are always conveniently vague, their information always secondhand, and their proof is invariably a leaked memo or a blurred screenshot of an email that never materializes for public scrutiny. I have spent countless hours analyzing the patterns on these platforms, tracing the same rumor from 2016, then again in 2019, 2021, 2023, and now here we are in 2025. And the script is identical, only the dates have changed. The architects of this hype cycle understand YouTube's algorithm better than most creators. They know that videos with titles screaming, "It's happening! 5-day window confirmed!" generate massive click-through rates, which tells YouTube to promote the content to more viewers. And the longer they can keep you watching with teases and dramatic pauses, the higher the retention graph climbs, signaling to the platform that this is valuable content, thus creating a feedback loop of misinformation that is financially profitable for the channel owner through ad revenue and membership fees, all while selling you a dream that has consistently failed to manifest. This isn't just speculation. It's a documented business model built on the back of your hope. The real twist, the one that these hype channels never want you to discover, is that the very concept of a limited, secretive exchange window run by a sovereign nation for a historic revaluation is fundamentally at odds with how global finance operates. A true revaluation, or RV, of a national currency is not a covert event. It is a publicly announced, meticulously planned monetary policy decision aimed at creating stability and attracting foreign investment. Announcing it to only a select few through obscure online forums would be economic suicide, instantly destroying the very credibility and trust the policy is meant to engender. Think about it logically. If you were the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, would you risk your nation's entire economic future on a poorly written PDF sent to a handful of foreign speculators? The answer is a resounding no, and that logical disconnect is the first and most important clue that you are being led astray, down a path that has been worn smooth by years of broken promises and strategically renewed hype. So if the 5-day window is a proven myth, a ghost that haunts the investment community every couple of years, the inevitable and far more critical question becomes, what is actually happening with the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong right now? And why does the official reality, when you strip away the fanfare, paint a picture that is both more complex and ultimately more consequential for your investment than any fictional timeline? Let's navigate the murky waters between the official statements and the on-the-ground truth, because this is where most hype channels completely fail their audience, either through deliberate ignorance or a conscious decision to ignore anything that doesn't fit the any day now narrative. Starting with Iraq, the Central Bank of Iraq, or CBI, has been unequivocally clear in its public communications and monetary policy statements. Their primary focus for the last several years has been on a strategic multi-phase project to stabilize the Iraqi currency and modernize the national financial infrastructure. A project that involves painful but necessary steps like phasing out large denomination notes to combat hoarding and corruption, and implementing a robust electronic payment System to increase transparency. This is the real, unglamorous work of a nation rebuilding its economy, not the stuff of thrilling YouTube updates. The real twist here, the one you won't hear in those frantic nightly news videos, is that this very process of demonetization and financial digitization is what actively works against the speculator's dream of a sudden, massive overnight revaluation. Why? Because a government that is actively trying to nullify certain physical notes in circulation is not simultaneously planning to make those same notes worth a fortune in a matter of days. The two policies are diametrically opposed, and this fundamental contradiction is the silent killer of the RV narrative that gurus never dare to address. Now, let's talk about the most abused term in this space, the international rate or program rate. This is where the deception reaches its peak, with screenshots of fake forex trading platforms or doctored bank internal memos circulating as proof that the new rate has gone live. I have personally tracked these so-called proofs across multiple platforms, and the pattern is always the same. They originate from a single, unverified source on a forum like Dinar Recaps or a private Telegram channel, are then screenshot and amplified by dozens of smaller YouTube channels desperate for content, and within hours it's presented as multiple confirmations. It's a digital game of telephone, where the original lie is the only message being passed around. The cold hard data from legitimate financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank tells a completely different story. Their latest country reports on Iraq commend the progress on fiscal reforms, but repeatedly highlight enduring challenges like political instability, reliance on oil revenues, and the need for further banking sector reforms, all of which are prerequisites for any meaningful, sustainable change in currency value, and none of which point to a secret, imminent event. Shifting to the Vietnamese dong, the story is similarly grounded in economic reality rather than fantasy. The State Bank of Vietnam has maintained a tightly controlled, managed float for years, making tiny, precise adjustments to manage inflation and support exports. Their monetary policy is a masterclass in gradual, controlled management, the absolute antithesis of a sudden, thousandfold increase. The dangerous allure of the dong for speculators often hinges on misunderstood narratives about Vietnam's incredible economic growth. But here's the crucial twist. A strong, growing economy does not automatically equate to a massively revalued currency. In fact, many rapidly developing nations intentionally keep their currency somewhat undervalued to make their exports more competitive on the global stage, which is a core tenet of Vietnam's current economic strategy. This is the real information you need to be a savvy investor, not the fairy tales. The painful truth is that the entire ecosystem of rumors relies on a profound misunderstanding of how sovereign monetary policy works, preying on the hope that you can bypass years of economic development with a single lucky bet. By creating a constant state of imminence, these channels effectively paralyze your critical thinking, making you dismiss the official data from the CBI or the SBV as smoke and mirrors, while accepting unsubstantiated forum posts as the real truth. This cognitive dissonance is the engine of the hype machine, and it's why so many people remain trapped in a cycle of anticipation, forever waiting for a tomorrow that the actual economic indicators never promised.
Now that we've dismantled the myth and laid bare the harsh economic realities, the most vital question of all demands an answer. Where do we, as investors and seekers of truth, go from here? How do we reclaim our power, protect our capital, and navigate this landscape without falling prey to the next emotionally charged rumor that will inevitably surface next month or next year? The solution isn't about finding a better guru. It's about transforming yourself from a passive spectator into an informed, critical analyst. And that journey begins with a fundamental shift in your information diet and a ruthless commitment to primary sources. Let's be brutally honest. The vast majority of the pain and confusion in this community stems from getting news fourthhand, from a forum that quoted a YouTube channel, that misinterpreted a blog, that loosely translated a legitimate Iraqi news article. You must break this chain. This means doing the work that the hype channels won't. Bookmarking the official websites of the Central Bank of Iraq and the State Bank of Vietnam, and reading their monetary policy statements and press releases yourself, even if you have to use Google Translate. It means following the official social media accounts of institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank for their unbiased country-specific reports. This is the unsexy, diligent work of a genuine investor, and it immunizes you against 99% of the nonsense circulating online, because you'll instantly recognize when a bombshell update is just a recycled, out-of-concrypt fragment of an old official document. The next layer of your defense is a simple but powerful litmus test you must apply to every single piece of news you encounter: the dual question filter. First, ask, who benefits from me believing this right now? Follow the money trail. Is the source selling premium membership groups, promotional dinar, or financial coaching services? If the answer is yes, you have discovered a powerful motive that instantly disqualifies their objectivity. Second, and more importantly, ask, has this source ever admitted they were wrong?
Go back through their old videos. You will find a perpetual state of confirmation, where every piece of news, good or bad, is twisted to fit the any day now narrative, and past failed predictions are never acknowledged, only quietly forgotten. A source that never corrects its course is not a source of information, it is a source of propaganda, and you must have the courage to hit the unsubscribe button. This brings us to the ultimate and most empowering truth of this entire journey. Your greatest asset in this speculative investment is not the currency notes sitting in your safe, but the patience and discipline residing in your mind. The real global reset that needs to happen is a personal one. A reset in how you process information, manage expectations, and define success. The hype machine sells you on the dream of instant, life-altering wealth because it's a product that's easy to market. What it cannot sell you is the slow, steady, and ultimately more secure path of understanding that these are long-term, high-risk plays on the future of developing nations, and their outcome hinges on tangible geopolitical and economic progress, not internet rumors. Your exit strategy should not be pinned on a fictional 5-day window, but on a sober analysis of when these countries achieve genuine, sustained economic milestones that are recognized by the global financial community. A moment that will be reported by Bloomberg and Reuters, not by an anonymous poster on a forum. You have the power to end this cycle of anxiety and disappointment today. You've taken the first critical step by seeking out the unfiltered truth here on True Dinar Insight. Now I need you to take the next one. If this video has provided you with more clarity than you've had in years, then do not let this moment pass. Hit the like button right now to let me know you value this hard-hitting analysis, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because my mission is to build a community of informed, critical thinkers, not a crowd of hopeful followers. But most importantly, I need you to become an active part of this conversation. Share your own experiences in the comments below. Tell me, after hearing all of this, what was the one rumor that almost convinced you, and how do you feel about it now? Your story could be the very thing that helps another investor step back from the ledge. Let's build this knowledge together, one truth at a time.